Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sidrasad and I welcome you all to another episode of the Ninja Experience. The Ninja Experience is a webinar series introduced by Code Ninja to bring meaning back to work. As you know that every week we bring in people from different parts of the world to talk about their experiences, to talk about their journeys, and to share their tips and success tips especially. And today, the guest that I have invited is someone who actually is a leadership coach. He's an executive leadership coach, and his duty is like basically his passion is to uh, teach and to train the young entrepreneurs of the emerging world. And he has passion for human dynamics, and he studied human behaviors, and that's when he decided to start training these young leaders. And currently it's been more than a decade that he's been coaching these people, and he's based in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And it's my immense pleasure that I will introduce you all to the guest of the day, Abdul Rab. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Pleasure. Likewise.
Right. So, okay, starting with just a basic question. When did you decide that you want to be a leadership coach? Because other than being an entrepreneur or anything like that, you decided to teach and train those people that wanted to be at the leadership position. So what inspired you the most about this?
Just a minute. I'll tell you, my story started some 22 years ago. And
Okay.
It was precisely some 2001 when I just finished my first leadership course, and that was the time when I realized that I'm not into the IT, because I come from the IT background, and by that time I'd already been into my IT background for almost like 15 years, and then I realized that it was not my piece of cake, and that realization came only after attending the first leadership training. And this is where I realized or rediscovered or explored myself, and found out that this is the area I wanted to be in. So it was like 22 years ago. And then I started working with many trainers, different trainers, volunteered with them, and learned a lot of them over a period of time, and gradually changed my rudder, turned my rudder, and moved from the IT hardcore programming and systems analysis and all that into the leadership domain, where I finally landed in coaching. So this is what my brief story is all about.
And that's like a lot of time. 22 years is a long time that you have been,
That's correct.
training these people. So this is quite remarkable. So today's topic was that when we had a call, and you wanted to discuss this thing as well. That so many young people now they want to become entrepreneurs. They want to start their own businesses, their own ventures. And being an entrepreneur is just not about one thing. Starting business is also about being a leader, because you have to go through all the team dynamics and everything. So basically, today's topic is all about what habits or what qualities are common in every entrepreneur, and what drives them to success. And of course, you would be the best person to tell us about that. So starting from this, that over your 22 years of experience, you must have trained like so many young entrepreneurs. What are those some key habits or qualities or traits that you have seen in almost every single one of them? Or what are those traits that is common amongst all of those leaders and entrepreneurs?
All right, so let me explain you a little bit over here. First of all, I would like to describe the difference between training and coaching. This is one. So training is giving the burst of information at once in a very short span of time. And in that, you really don't get to know what the person is all about and how the mindset works and all that. Coaching is a little bit different. Coaching is an engagement, is a disciplined practice where you are engaged with the person on an ongoing basis. You engage and disengage, engage and disengage. This is where you come to know the mindset of the other person, and you can help him or her become what he or she wants to become. Right? So this was one thing. The other thing is, as far as the entrepreneurship is concerned, let me tell you that this term is, you can say, mostly heard during the last 10, 15 years, or maybe 20 years. Before that, people have already been doing what they're doing now, but this term was not coined earlier. Center for Entrepreneurship Studies and all these have been formed during the last 15, 20 years, probably not before that, or maybe a little before, right? So let me come to the question that you asked. What are the different qualities of entrepreneurship? So here are a couple of things which I can tell, and if you can allow me, I would like to share my coaching experiences over a period of time, and the learnings that have come through those coaching experiences, and probably this is where I can add value more than telling you only the theories. All right.
Definitely, please, you're more than welcome to share it.
All right. Okay. So the first and the foremost thing that I would like to tell over here is that clarity of vision is extremely important. Means what the person wants to do. Yes.
Okay.
So some people say that we want to do that, and we want to build that product, or we want to have our own business and whatnot. So as a coach, what we do is that we take them through a series of questions as to what kind of business, for instance, and why is that important for them to have that business, and so on. So what are the details? We ask them to clearly create a picture how the business looks like. What kind of interactions are they going to have with people? And what are their roles and responsibilities, and so on and so forth. This itself develops a lot of clarity. So this is one thing. The second thing, and please feel free to stop me anytime.
Definitely.
Raise your hand up like this, and I'll stop myself. All right, fine. Let's come to the second thing. The second thing is clarity of purpose. Means if there is a vision, imagine if this is the vision, this is the purpose behind the vision. If the purpose is removed, the vision becomes weak. It starts shaking, and anytime it can fall down, right? So the purpose has to be there. This purpose keeps the entrepreneurs keep driving or pushing or exerting force for their vision. If the purpose is removed, nothing is left, right? Because entrepreneurship is not an easy job. Let me tell you, it may drive people crazy, and there are difficult times. So people should be ready to embrace the hardship if possible. I mean, if at all it comes, right? Now, when that time arrives, the purpose supports them, because the purpose tells them why they were here at all, right?
Exactly.
So that kind of purpose. So far I've told you two things. One is the vision, the clarity
of vision, and clarity of purpose.
Yes. Let's go to a few more. Right? You want me to go for a few more, or you want me to?
Please. No. Please continue. That's what we want to hear.
All right. Okay. So the next few are consistency and focus. So what is meant by focus? I have seen. Let me tell you a real life story. So I know a person who is in entrepreneurship for the last 20 years. Because I know him for quite some time. The interesting part of this person is that every time he goes into a new area which he never had experienced before. So every time a new area he enters, and he has some failures and all that, but by the time he reaches a place where he can leverage the experiences that he has had, he leaves that domain, moves to another domain, and then tries to apply the same experience. Now this is 1, 2, 3, so forth. He has not been able to reap the benefits of his experience. So consistency is critically important, right?
Okay, so you mean to say that he loses focus on one thing and he switches to another because he loses interest? Maybe is that the reason? Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. See this. More than anything else, one has to have a confidence and conviction in himself or herself that he can do it. Belief in yourself will make a lot of difference, because belief in yourself will make you consistently work in that area over and over again. Right? If the belief is not there, you think, not you, but anyone could think that this is not the way to go. So you move and you move and you move. When you keep moving from one to the other area, you don't reach anywhere. Right? So that's what is meant by focus? Yes. Focus means you are not distracted by small little things here and there. That means you are able to keep yourself in traction. I repeat the word traction. Traction is critically important for anything that you do. So that means I'm focused on my work, so I don't get distracted by the devices that we all love, the mobile phones, right?
Yeah.
We don't get distracted by anything else. It's critically important to focus. And there are many more things which I can go on and on and on.
Okay,
And so
I
on and
would
so
like
forth.
to ask you one thing here, that when
Please,
we talk
please.
about focus or losing
Yeah.
focus or being distracted, what do you say about being distracted or losing focus because of a failure? Because there are times when you see a wall in front of you and you don't have anywhere to go. At that point, if an entrepreneur loses focus, what do you have to say about that?
Very interesting question and very important question.
Yeah.
Now, see this, it's very important to understand if I have the conviction, let's say if I am the entrepreneur and I have the conviction, that means I'm ready to embrace the failure. See, remember one rule or one principle in life, that failure is an event. Failure is
Okay.
not the person. So that means if a person for some reason is not able to make it to the point, it's not a failure. It has been a learning opportunity. So you come back,
Okay.
you reinforce yourself with new ideas and so on and so forth, and then you hit the target again, right? If it did not work the second time, you have some more learning, and then try to gather yourself and then hit the target again, right? So trust my words, Sidra. If someone doesn't have the courage to fail, he should not be going into this area called entrepreneurship. It is not their piece of cake.
True.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is one thing. The other thing is that when I have been coaching a number of product managers for quite some time. So what I have seen is that in product management, you need to love your job as developing products, but you need not fall in love with your product. So what happens? When the product fails, it shatters you. And I've seen people, because they believe the product is their baby, and they cling to their baby and they don't just let it go. This does not work. This kind of love does not should not work, should not be there in case of products. But yes, they should love their passion. They should love to be in the field of product development, right? So
But
as I
I
mentioned,
would like to, as a
Go
layman, I would say this, that there's a very fine line between these two things: being passionate about your work and being passionate about your product. Because the thing that you're building, you eventually associate yourself with it, and the association grows. So there's a fine line between this thing that, okay, I'm not passionate about the product, but I'm passionate about just the work that I do. And not many people can, at least not everyone can, differentiate between that. So that's why it
That's
becomes
correct.
difficult for all of us.
That's correct. So let me tell you one more thing over here.
Yeah.
Which is the entrepreneurs should know themselves more than they know anything else. The market and the people they work around, and so on and so forth. Because you know what I have seen over a period of time, a period of years, people who are not aware of themselves, they got themselves into a wrong boat. And finally, it took them years and years to figure out that it was they were riding a wrong boat. For instance, let me give you an example. So there was a product manager that I happened to coach almost like 2 years ago, and the guy was struggling, and the product was also struggling, both of them, because he was not a good product manager. So when we realized, we approached him and we made him understand that he is good in other areas, but not in product development. Finally, he moved to the other area, and mashallah, the guy is happy and he is doing very well, right? So more than what you can do, you should know more what you cannot do.
What you cannot do. So you should know your limitations and your boundaries and where do you stand and your capabilities, of course.
So if you allow me, I would like to add one more point here before we close this point, and then you can ask a question, right? Now, see this, guys, whoever our audience, they need to understand that when we know what are our strengths, we can leverage our strengths. Leveraging means taking advantage of what we have, the strength, and getting big benefits out of small efforts. I repeat, getting big benefits out of a small efforts. But where we are not strong, what do? We cannot continue to struggle, because our struggles will not make us reach anywhere. What do? We need to complement. We need to get people on board who can help us and become a team, and then together we move on. Now, so it's over.
talking about the last point that you mentioned, most of the people who are at leadership positions or who are entrepreneurs, they have this habit of doing everything themselves, because for a long time they have done their struggles, and they've done everything alone. When it comes
Yes.
to delegating tasks, that's the most difficult thing that they find. So how important it is to delegate your task to your team, and how important it is to build that team in that way that it maintains trust and honesty as well. What do you say about
Mhm.
this skill that entrepreneurs need?
Very interesting question. So let me tell you a story here.
Okay.
So recently, I happened to coach a product manager. So this product
Mhm.
manager is he has a team of around 20 people,
Okay.
and Mala, he's a wonderful delegator. So he
Okay.
keeps delegating whatever task that he has. He delegates very
Mhm.
well. Now, till the point that he started delegating so much that he started losing the not the control but the critical information of the product that he should have had, because he was delegating
Oh,
everything, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
there has to be fine balance between what is strategically important and what can be delegated, right? So
Okay.
only the product manager or the entrepreneur, they have this realization that what should be delegated and what should not be delegated. For instance, let me tell you
Okay.
uh, from this example and another example. So
Mhm.
there was a presentation that they had to develop for this product for this entrepreneurs team, and they wanted to present this to get the funding, because this is
Okay.
what entrepreneurs do, right? They
Yeah.
pitch. So when the figures or the numbers were displayed on the screen and this guy was explaining, people clearly knew the numbers were not correct, right? Now,
Oh,
where the numbers came from?
okay.
He
Yeah.
delegated the responsibility to one of his team members,
Oh,
and the team member, yes, he pulled the numbers, and
and
it now the rest is history. You can understand what happened later.
that's very unfortunate, actually, for on his part, I must say.
Yes.
But of course, as you said, there's a fine line between understanding what to delegate and what not to delegate. Sometimes it's too much, and sometimes it's not there, because personally, I've seen many leaders who are really good at everything else, but they're only bad at delegating work, because they think that, okay, I can do it, so it becomes more of a micromanagement. Okay, so other than, let's move on to another skill that is really important. As you said, consistency is really important for an entrepreneur. I'll
Yes.
I'll relate this to resilience, and I want to know that how important it is being resilient against all the odds, because being an entrepreneur is not an easy task. So, do you
Mm,
think it all comes down to resilience and consistency, or are there other factors as well?
all right. Very interesting. So let us define resilience first.
Yeah.
So I define resilience is your ability to come back to your normal emotional state after something happens that is against your likes or your willingness. Right. So this is resilience.
Yeah.
So I have seen people in all different levels of resilience. Some people they come back very quickly, and some people they take time.
Mhm.
So what happens is, in case of if the person is highly resilient, it helps him come back to his original state and continue working. If the person is not highly resilient, then it takes time. And when it takes time, that means it is not only affecting him, it affects
Okay.
everyone around. Right. So this is
Yeah.
something very important to understand. So I would like my audience over here to note down a book name. Amy Morin is the author, and the
Okay.
name of the book is 13 Things That Mentally Strong People Don't Do. 13 things. If
Okay.
you write 13 things
13.
on Google by Amy Morin, you will get this book. It's red color book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
I'm
So
I'm
coming
just
back to the
I'm doing
point.
the Google search as well.
All right.
Okay. I'll share the link with everyone who's watching. So yeah, I have it right
Yeah.
here. Okay, please
Right.
continue.
It's wonderful book. Yes. So coming back to the resilience. Resilience is critically important. So let me give
Mm-hmm.
you an example of how people have increased their level of resilience. Or
Mm-hmm.
for
Okay.
instance, people who are physically strong and who are mentally strong, they work out in the gym or do something to make themselves strong. This is one of the ways to create the resilience.
Okay.
Another way to create the resilience is not to cling to the past. because what happened in the past is gone. It cannot be changed. Yeah, so they can change the future, but they cannot change the past, right? So this realizing how this realization comes by being able to spend some time with yourself. Once you are able to spend some time, there are a lot of small little screws that you can tight, or you can tweak, that give you this kind of realization. So this is second thing. Third thing that helps tremendously in increasing the level of resilience is journaling. Journaling means you write about yourself, talking to yourself about yourself, talking not about other people, no, talking to yourself about yourself. That, for instance, this situation happened today. Why did it make me feel the way I felt, and so on and so forth, right? So we have talked about three things: physical exercise, physical and physiological. It has a lot of connection to our mind. And then spending time with ourselves. And third thing is writing,
journaling.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so now we have covered the topic of resilience, and we know that it's a trait of entrepreneurs. Coming to another thing is that I'm really curious to know about is that every entrepreneur that we see starting their own business, we see that they are risk takers. They have this trait of being daring. They take such bold decisions, because everything depends on that. So is it a common trait for every entrepreneur? It varies from person to person.
Okay, so I did not hear you clearly. You said risk award or risk taking?
Risk taking.
Risk taking. All right. Yeah. All right. As far as the risk is concerned, it's very critical to see what kind of risk are you taking. Whether it is something that you can bear with or you cannot, right? So I recommend another book to read, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki. So Robert Kiyosaki also explains 4 quadrants, and you can read the details. So financial experts, they advise that if you want to have your own business or own venture, make sure that you have something in your bag, so that your kitchen and other things don't get disturbed, right? And you can continue to do experimenting. They also suggest that if you are working somewhere, this is the time to establish your venture and entrepreneurship and do any kind of experimentation, because you have a steady income, and you can take the brunt. You can burn your hands and still be able to survive, right?
Yeah.
So the worst decision could be that whatever you have, you just burn in your business. This is the worst situation. I have seen people doing that. Putting your retirement means whatever that you have earned so far, put that into a business is not a wise decision. So coming back to the point, when you say risk taking, yes, of course there is risk. Now, when it comes to risk taking, I also suggest to read a book called Decisive. Now, Siddha, actually, I'm referring back and forth to books because I believe one more thing about entrepreneurs. If they want to be real entrepreneurs, they need to have reading habit. Yes, need to learn from other people's experiences and what people are offering in the market. Why burning your hands if there are already experiences available out there, right? So now, in the book Decisive, he clearly explains a framework called RAP, WRAP, and this is a decision making. For instance, risk taking is a decision whether you take this or not, right? So Chip Heath and Dan Heath, who are the authors of this book called Decisive, they clearly explain the framework of making a decision or taking a risk, right? So coming back to the point, risk should be calculated, and risk cannot be avoided always, but you need to be aware of the risk, and you need to know how to mitigate that risk, and then you go ahead and take that risk.
Okay. So it means that almost every entrepreneur has this, but because it is really important, and they can't be entrepreneurs without risk taking. And is it only financial risk, or are there, let's say, any other risks involved in entrepreneurship as well, or it's just about finances? Because the things that we mentioned are only financial. So are there any other risks that you think are important to keep in mind?
I have stories over
Am I
here.
putting you under fire? I'm really sorry because I have just so many
No,
questions about it.
that's fine. That's fine, Sidra. It is good question. So the risk the entrepreneurs take are financial, but we are not talking about financial risk now, as per your question. So what are the other risks? The other risks are they risk their health, they risk their
Okay.
relationship, yes, and they risk their connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. So, by the way, entrepreneurs need to be very close to God. You know why? Because they are
Really?
not salary people, right? So every time they put their foot out, they are very closely connected to the Creator because they
So
are
you're
highly connected.
saying that faith plays an important role in
Of
entrepreneurship
course,
as well. This
yes.
is the first time that I'm hearing anyone say this. So this is a very interesting take on this, and we can definitely talk more about it because not many people consider this as a must-have for entrepreneurship or starting your own ventures.
So now let me go to the story. So this
Okay.
is an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and mashallah, he has got experience because he has done many startups, and now the guy is capable. You give him the idea, and he can create a startup, fully functional startup. He's capable,
Okay.
mashallah. I know him so closely because I coach him.
Okay.
Now, so recently he started experiencing health issues. He's just 30 years of age and
Okay.
having very serious health issues. So he went to the doctor, and
Okay.
doctor first asked him, how many cups of coffee do you drink every day? So he says
Okay.
maybe 8 or 9 cups, and the doctor says, and then the doctor says, how many hours do you work? And sometimes he said that sometimes he ended up working 48 hours in a row, 48 hours with
Okay.
hardly 1 or 2 hours of sleep. And then
Okay.
doctor says that why are you doing that? He says because to earn money. And doctor
Mhm.
says, what are you going to do with that money if you did not have your health in you, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that money? So
Exactly.
so it is beyond comprehension. So people they ruin their or destroy their health just because they are so much into the work. So this is one. The other thing is relationship. What happens? People
Yeah.
are so obsessed about entrepreneurship. They forget the relationship with their
Yeah.
spouse, with their children, and so on and so forth. And by the time this realization comes that they have did not work on the relationship, it's already too late, right? And there are
Yeah.
no U-turns in relationships. So I hope I was able to put my point across. Now there's one thing over here, Siddha,
Yeah.
which is very important to understand. When
Okay.
when I asked this guy why is he working so hard, you know what he said? He said he has a fear of failure. So it refers back
Okay.
to your question. Yes, fear of failure. Because
Mm-hmm.
if the entrepreneurs have fear of failure, that means they are going to work their life out.
Yeah.
So that means they will destroy everything, including their health, the relationship, and so on and so forth. So we need to understand that there is a fear of failure, and there is something called failure. It may happen. So what? If you fail, so what? You retreat, and then you re-energize yourself, and then you go ahead with double force, and so forth. This is
Definitely.
how life is.
Okay. So
Okay,
you'll always find entrepreneurs, bouncing back with the full energy on this.
that's
Okay.
correct.
So the next thing would be that I want to know that how can we talked about vision and we talked about purpose, but at a very early stage, how can entrepreneurs design that vision? How can they make sure that their vision is compelling enough to start a business, and how do you advise them to go through that phase of their journey where they have to decide, okay, this is my vision, this is my goal, and so what do they do that, and what is the process for that?
Okay. So thank you so much for this question. It's a very important question, and I would like the audience to do a small exercise over here. And this is where I
Okay.
link the vision. So I'll stand up
Okay.
and I'll show you something. I want
Okay.
people to do the exercise like this. For instance,
Okay.
raise their hands like this, both sides,
Okay.
right? And imagine that people are entering in them from this side, right? People are coming
Okay.
in and they're leaving off from this side. All right.
Okay.
Now, when people leave from this side, what is the value that they want to add in people's life?
Okay.
This will help them understand the purpose of their life and the
Okay.
greater vision. Means the value that they're adding to people's life. This will help them come up with the kind of business they really wanted to be in, right?
Okay.
The products that they really wanted to develop, and so on and so forth, right? So this great purpose of life is very much connected to their entrepreneurship because it will keep them driving. So this is one question. This is one point. The other point is the clarity of vision. Means what do you want to do and why do you want to do that. This is, I believe, this is a divine something that comes to you from God, and this
Yeah.
comes to you only when you spend some time by yourself, with yourself, without the devices, right? So think and reflect, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept a lot of power in pen, writing device.
Yeah.
Allah calls this qalam. So qalam is
Yeah.
something which has been reflected twice, at least twice in Quran. So when they writing, the articulation becomes better, the thought processing becomes clear, and people are able to think objectively, right?
Yeah.
This is how the visions are created. This is how further things are elaborated. So I hope I was able to answer your question. So two things.
Yeah.
I'll conclude: the greater purpose of their
Yeah.
existence so that they can add value, and
Yeah.
then when they spend time with themselves, then they are able to create the vision. Let's come to the third thing. What entrepreneurs should be doing most of the time? Entrepreneurs should be living in people, with people,
Yes.
in people and with
Yes.
people, so that they can I rather say use a word called sniffing. Sniff, like,
Okay.
it's you sniff.
Yeah.
Yes. So what do you sniff?
Yeah.
You sniff the problems to be addressed, right? And this is where you find the gaps, and this is where you can create the niche, whether you call it niche or you call it niche. The
Yeah.
word is niche. All
Yeah.
right. So this is where you can find a place, and you can start with a challenge or a problem. The issues that I have seen most of the times is that entrepreneurs start with the idea, with the solution. This is a wrong
Mhm.
approach, because the solution, maybe
Okay.
the solution is already existing somewhere. The solution, maybe the other person has a solution better than them, and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So there is a complete process, and I sincerely appreciate and strongly advise our people to look out for some books related to innovation, related to product development, and so on and so forth. For instance, Product School is one of the most prestigious school in Silicon Valley, which teaches product development, and it's very close to entrepreneurship. Go and
Okay.
read the Product School book of knowledge. It's a wonderful book, and it's easy to read, and it tells you what is the step-by-step process. So coming back to the point, people start with solutions and ideas. That
Yeah.
is a wrong start. So actually, it's a wrong beginning. So if they look out for the problems and challenges
Yeah.
to be addressed, then they have a higher probability of reaching the success.
I totally agree, because they need to find the gaps in the society
That's
where
correct.
they
Yes.
can fill out. Okay, so
Yes.
talking about this particular point, as you said, that they need to find out, they need to live in people, and they need to find out that how they can help people. Other than that, is it also important that they should be passionate about that vision as well? Like they should have their they should have personal, not, I wouldn't say personal agenda, but they need to be equally passionate about it, or it's just about that they want to make a better life for people, because these are two different things. One is being you're focusing on yourself, and the second thing is that you're focusing on what people want. What if is it a mixture of both? Is it just the one thing, or vice versa?
Yeah. Before answering the questions, I must say that your questions are amazing, and they're so to the
Thank
point,
you.
and very strong. And
Yeah,
and they're really
thank
bringing
you.
the crux out of. So let me tell you.
That-
Let me tell you
yeah.
what is passion. Usually, people think that passion is something that my passion is something that I love to do. No, no, no.
Hmm.
I would like to correct the assumption over here. The word passion comes from a Latin word called passio,
Okay.
Passio. So
Okay.
passio means your ability to bear the difficulty, and to pass through challenges, and to give your blood and sweat to make something better, right?
Okay.
So if you're passionate about something, that means you are willing to give everything, whatever that you have, to make it better, right?
Yeah.
So this is something different than what I like to do, right? So if you can combine them together, so maybe this is something that I like to do, and this is also something which can make people's life better, or this is something that I'm so much into it that I want to give everything to make it better, right? So if both of things can be combined, this is something that will take you forward. Now there's one more thing over here.
Yeah.
People have been talking about passion a lot, right?
Yeah.
But I would like to introduce another concept over here, which is not me. People have written a lot.
Okay.
There is an author called Angela Duckworth, and Angela Duckworth has done some phenomenal work on the word called grit, GRID.
Okay.
So grit, what is grit? Grit is passion combined with perseverance. Means you like to do something, and you are willing to shed your blood and sweat for this, and at the same time you have the perseverance to move along consistently after one failure and the other, and so on and so forth. So this is where you make the difference, and this is what makes you forward. Only passion probably will not make you reach very long.
Okay, so all the people hearing, passion is just not enough. You need other factors as well. Sometimes because when young people are starting their own ventures, they're like, oh, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about these things. So it's just not enough. You need other things as well. Okay, so the last point is that because we're already 35 minutes in, and I had the conversation is going all over the place, and there's so many things I need to discuss. So the last thing that I would want to talk about is the importance of innovation and creativity, the skill of being innovative in an entrepreneur. How important is that? And we definitely cannot skip that. So let's talk about that.
All right. So let me describe them separately first. So what is innovation and what is creativity? Creativity means creating something out of nothing. So this is called creativity, something that did not exist. What is innovation? Innovation is something different. Innovation means that there is something, let's suppose this mouse is there, it's a product, but you innovate out something from this mouse, and you create a product, another product, which probably looks like a mouse, but it is something more, right? And that function was something that fills a gap which exists currently, right? So innovation does not mean that you create something out of nowhere. So let me clarify this. Now, having said this, it is critically important that entrepreneurship have this capability of innovating things and creating small little versions evolving over a period of time, right? So small little innovations evolve over a period of time, and this is what keeps the products and entrepreneurs keep moving forward. So innovation. Right, this is innovation, and if this innovation spirit is missing, then it becomes very difficult for entrepreneurs to move forward. All right. Now, how to at least long time back, I had a belief that I was not innovative at all. I did not have. If you had asked me this question probably maybe 15 years ago, I said I'm zero in creativity and innovation. Yes.
Okay.
Over a period of time, I realized I came to understand that every person, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created innovation and creativity in every person. Our challenge is that we have not tapped it. We have not scratched it. So now how to do that? Guys, read some books on innovation. When you read some books on innovation, for instance, Innovator's DNA, Christensen book, Innovator's DNA is a wonderful book. Or Disciplined Entrepreneurship is another book, which is both again innovation and entrepreneurship. Read some books, and they will tell you how to step by step invoke your innovative spirit. For instance, there's another book called IDEO. IDEO is a institution in design thinking in Switzerland. So they have written a book called Creative Confidence. I repeat the word, Creative Confidence. It's a thin book, easy read. So coming back to the point, when you read a couple of books, it starts flaring up the innovative skills in you, and you feel like you move forward. So I hope I was able to respond to your question.
Definitely, that was very very nice, and I've had a very lovely conversation. I would like you to end on this note that please share any advice that you would want to give to young entrepreneurs watching us right now, and anybody, uh, just a personal advice from your side. Anything that you want to say to those young people or who are just starting their ventures, who are just stepping up, or so let's say people like us who are just thinking of being an entrepreneur but they're not there yet. So please share an advice.
Okay, two things I would like to share here.
Yeah.
One thing is always start small. So remember this: start small, think big. You may have big things, that's fine, but always start small, deliver quick. Means think big, start small, deliver quick. So when you
Yeah.
deliver quick in smaller steps, it gives you quick successes over a period of time. And each
Yeah.
success gives you a sense of accomplishment, and then you move forward, and so on and so forth. So this is one thing. The other thing I would like to advise to my audience over here today is that, guys, Sidra has talked about a lot of things over here, but there's one more thing which we did not touch, and that is communication skills.
Yes.
Entrepreneurs, when they start their venture and they move forward, they have to have good communication skills. They have to have the ability to influence people, and they also
Yes.
have to, yes, and how to pitch, create a pitch, means how to pitch their venture so that they can get money, or they can get the things done. Entrepreneurs, more than anything else, as I also talked about delegation earlier, all these are
Yeah.
part of communication skills. Getting things done means knack of getting things done. This is critically important for entrepreneurs. So I'll
Definitely.
wrap up this point. First thing that we talked about, that always is start small and deliver quick. And
Yeah.
the second thing that we talked about is communication skills, your
Communication.
level, your ability to influence people, and your ability to get things done. Those are very very critical.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing these three things that really, really are helpful for all of us. And before we wrap this up, thank you so much. It was a lovely conversation, and I can't believe it's already 43 minutes. And there are so many things that we both know that we didn't discuss in this session, but
Yes.
definitely I'm gonna, invite you again, and we're gonna have another session to continue this conversation because there are so
Why
many
not?
different
Why
things that
not?
we can definitely talk about it. Maybe
Sure.
next month I'm gonna call you up again and we're gonna have this session again. And thank you
Yes.
so much. It was lovely having conversation with you about all these things. Very informative. And you have to send me all the list of the books that you shared because they were really, really, they sounded interesting, and I can share it with the audience as well. And thank you for your time. On behalf of Code Ninja, I would like to thank you for your time, for your effort.
It was a
It was a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Thank you. Likewise, thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you soon again.
Same here,
All
same
right.
here. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.
Goodbye.
All the people that are watching us right now, thank you for joining us today. In case you're watching it later, I would like to suggest that we'll be sharing this on YouTube and we'll be able to watch the whole video there. See you soon, and see you next Monday with another guest. Bye. Allah Hafiz.